I want to let everybody know right now, this is not a review where I really need to get into much spoilers, so you are all safe to watch it. Hey guys, what's going on? It's your old pal CHH. Gotta ask if this is a relatable thing. You wake up around 7:38 in the morning, just get your day going, and you go to the movies at 7 to see a movie, and you are just dead tired. You haven't taken a nap, you've been up all day, you've been working, you just do your thing. By the time it's 7 o'clock, I am just like begging to stay awake. So I've got coffee for this, but I'm here and I'm in a good mood, so let's talk about it. Just got out of Osgood Perkins' The Monkey. And I always like to kind of let you guys know how I feel about it, but this time I kind of want to hold off just for a second. Here's the thing I'll say about Osgood Perkins' movies. He never really grabbed me at first. Like the Black Coat's Daughter, that other Netflix movie that came out after that, I wasn't really in love with it, and I think he did something else after that. Gretel and Hansel grew on me, but lately Oz has been growing on me a lot, and I've been enjoying his movies. I thought last year's Longlegs was super fun. It was crazy weird, but it worked for me. So The Monkey is a Stephen King short story as far as I know, and it's now obviously been adapted for the screen. And I'll tell you, man, this one was pretty interesting. I don't watch trailers anymore, so if you're not too familiar with my channel, if you just happen to come across this, I'm not a trailer person. I stopped watching trailers because I know if I'm going to go see a movie or not, just based off of, you know, the images I see or just being in the horror world. I'm aware of things, so I try not to let anything get in my mind about what the movie's going to be about. I think that's a really healthy way to go about things, and I've been really enjoying my movie experiences that way. I have no preconceived notions, and I'm not trying to write the movie after seeing 3 or 4 trailers for it and then ultimately being disappointed. So we've got 2 twin brothers who come across this creepy-ass little drumming monkey. But this monkey seems to be a death curse. Anybody that's around this monkey when it starts to play its drum, say goodnight. And there's a lot of crazy and somewhat inventive ways that people, you know, kick the bucket, so to speak. One thing about The Monkey I definitely want to give a little credit for is this is a time-jumping movie. Not like a drastic time jump. We're seeing these 2 twins as they're young children. Somewhere around the first quarter mark, we fast forward to them being as adults. But the thing I liked about this is they did give you enough time to breathe with them as the kids and, you know, fall for the characters, so to speak, in that aspect. So by the time we get to them as adults, there's already like a built-in relationship, so to speak. It wasn't that abrupt, and that I enjoyed very much. This movie was really interesting. Here's the one thing I'll say about The Monkey. There are Stephen King movies, and what do I mean by that? Not necessarily movies that he directed, but obviously movies that come from Stephen King, short stories, novels, etc., or just Stephen King screenplays that he writes that people direct that become iconic classics. There's The Shining, there's It, both the miniseries from 1990, of course the new one. There's other movies from Stephen King like Misery, for instance, that are like these huge main event type movies that are destined to become all-time classics. And then there's other Stephen King movies that I really love, but they're not meant to basically change the world or be staples of an era, so to speak. Movies like Graveyard Shift is a perfect example of what I'm referencing. Movies that are certainly have a great story, but at the end of the day, they're just there to strictly entertain an audience. That is what The Monkey is to me. I saw this as a 2025 version of Graveyard Shift. Of course, nothing in terms of story, they're totally different, but I see a movie like that that serves the same purpose as Graveyard Shift. A fun story, but at the end of the day, just entertainment value. That's perfect for me. I feel like those are the kinds of movies I've been longing for. In that aspect, I like The Monkey a lot. There's something weird about this movie, though. I mean, clearly, this is a horror comedy, but I don't know if Oz Perkins necessarily wanted this or not when he was making the music for this, but when you hear the music in The Monkey as it's playing, it's really interesting how it's extremely serious and sensual and moody music that plays during moments where abruptly something happens that's supposed to be comedic and quite frankly is most of the time, and it was just kind of playing on your senses. I'm assuming that's the way Oz wanted that because of course he's the director, he's in charge of the movie. It won me over towards the end, but admittedly I was like, what are we doing here? Like, I'm trying to figure out the feel of this movie. So that was something that took a little bit of getting used to. One negative I will say about The Monkey for sure is when you're dealing with a movie that is certainly character-based, and it's a horror comedy, more than likely, somebody's going to annoy you a little bit. Somebody in this movie just annoyed me a little bit because the way their character looked, and I know this is so petty, but it was the Corey Cunningham guy, the actor. Forgive me, I forget his name, but you know, Corey Cunningham from Halloween Ends is in here. His character just annoyed me from seeing him on screen for the first second. I will say I was satisfied in that aspect, but that's just like the name of the game with horror comedies. Odds are there's somebody, when everybody's trying to be this character in these movies, odds are somebody's gonna just annoy you. And let's just be honest about it, right? Like, it annoyed me. The star of the movie is definitely the monkey as well. I mean, our lead actor in here is great. He has a great sensibility to him. You know, doing comedies, it's weird. You don't outwardly try to be funny or say things funny. Like, we just talked about Hard Eyes last time. This is a very different type of horror comedy. This is the situational type of horror comedy as opposed to playing for the laughs. Now, doing it this way, I find is much more difficult, and I'm much more critical of those types of movies, to be honest with you. Because to play on situational type comedy things, you have to still be suspenseful and have scenes that build up to things that have a sense of relief more naturally, so to speak. This was interesting though, because it wasn't necessarily natural relief comedy from situations, as opposed to just this quirky, weird nature that I wouldn't say is anything like Lynchian, so to speak, but definitely something that is not a straightaway flavor of anything. This is not like a straight ahead Diet Coke. This is like a Coke with some sort of different additive flavor, like a Coke orange cream or something. There's something there that's a little bit different and quirkier than things you're used to from horror comedies, that you got to just see it to experience it and understand it, so to speak. Another thing that got me was the gore in this. I wasn't prepared for some of the gore that we got, and the inventiveness of some of the kills were things I haven't seen in a while like this. And I'm just going to reference Hard Eyes because, again, it was the last movie I saw, were tenfold more exciting. There are things that you see coming that you know are going to happen, and then there's also things you're like, well, what's about to happen? We know the monkey's here, so something's going to happen, and boom, it's like, whoa, wasn't expecting that. Again, this isn't a movie that I feel is trying to be a staple of American cinema, like something like The Shining or other Stephen King movies. To me, this is like a 2025 graveyard shift. It's just a good little story, entertainment value, and that's fine. You know, there's times and places for those type of Stephen King movies, and then there's times and places for these type of Stephen King movies. Other than that, I don't know how much else I would criticize, just besides the fact that you're not going to fall in love with every character in here. It was really nice to see Elijah Wood, and I have a bias. I love him, so I'll never dislike him. So in case you're wondering, I'm sure some of you guys have all seen the trailers. If he's in them, I don't know because I don't watch trailers. I'll always love Elijah Wood. Overall, guys, I think this movie's just fun. Nothing more than that. And better than Hard Eyes. Again, just comparing it to that because I saw it last. I think a lot of people that went into Hard Eyes wanting a good horror comedy and getting more of a romantic movie will have a lot more fun with The Monkey. So in that aspect, I say go check it out. It was definitely a fun theater experience, and I definitely recommend seeing it. I'm going to give this movie 4 stars, actually. I think that's kind of high, but I feel good about that. I'm going to go 4 stars. Really enjoyed it. Super fun, and I love the look of that monkey. He's definitely the star of this. So I recommend it, guys. I don't think it's the best Osgood Perkins movie, but it could be the one that can have a wide reach, which is good, because I think it's something that at the end of the day, most people will be able to enjoy or get some enjoyment out of. I understand how Longlegs could be a really hardline movie that people either love or hate, but I think The Monkey's got something for everybody in there. So definitely check it out, guys. I enjoyed it. I really did. I'm on a streak right now. I've been enjoying movies that I've been seeing in the theater, but Monkey has me on a high. I enjoyed it a lot. So there you go, guys. The Monkey. Check it out. Cheers, Oz. Huge, giant thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Without you guys, this would not be possible. To get behind-the-scenes photos, videos, music, private live streams, and much more, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thank you to my patrons.